Let's talk about C2 Corvettes. They're wonderful cars to look at, they're wonderful cars to drive, and they're really undervalued. First, let's talk about what a C2 Corvette is. That is the second generation of the Corvette, and it was from 1963 to 1967. They are commonly called Stingrays. So in the fall of '62, for the '63 model year, Chevrolet came up with an all-new, totally different Corvette. The styling just wowed everybody. The reviews were fantastic. And our own Peter Brock was the young designer at GM that did the initial sketches on these cars. The cars came as a convertible with an optional hardtop and a stunning coupe that literally had the rear windows split. This was a controversial idea. It was considered dangerous, and it was quickly done away with the following year. So while the split window design only lasted 1 year, it is considered the most valuable of all of these early Corvettes. In 1964, they cleaned up the styling a little bit. They took the big grills off the hood. Corvettes came equipped with four-wheel disc brakes for the first time in 1965, and what a difference it made with the car. It made it a little lighter, but mainly the brakes were phenomenal. They're vented rotors, they're four-piston calipers. They're way better than the competition from Ford and Dodge at that point. There was a myriad of engine options, all of them based around the 327 on these early C2 Corvettes. The base car, at least in 1965, had 250 horsepower. They had a 300 horsepower version. They had the 350 horsepower L79 version, which still had hydraulic lifters. And then they did a 365 horse mechanical lifter engine, and then a 375 horse fuel injected engine, which was the top of the line until you went to the big block. The other big news for '65 was the introduction of the big block. The Corvette finally had the 396 engine, which the next year would become the 427 engine. Personally, I really like the balance and the feel of the small block Corvettes, although the big block Corvettes are worth quite a bit more money. In addition to the stunning exterior of these cars, the interiors were really cool. They had nice, comfortable bucket seats. They had a really unique curved dash. The radio was even placed sideways in the center of the dash, and you had the option of AM/FM. Other options for the first time on a Corvette included air conditioning and power steering. You could get power brakes, which moved you to a dual master cylinder. There were unique side pipes available on the car. And the coolest option is probably the knockoff wheels. By 1967, the idea of knockoff wheels was considered dangerous, and they were similar styled wheels, but they were just a bolt-on wheel. So which of these cars is the best, and what are they worth? The '63 split window, as we said, is considered the holy grail. The big blocks from '65, '6, and '7 are also considered the ones to have, although personally, as I said, I'd rather have a small block car. The cars came with either 4-speed or automatic, and actually some of them even had 3 speeds, which is not really considered a desirable standard feature to have. Personally, I like the '65s. I think that's the sweet spot. They opened up the grills on the side to make them real, which let some heat out. It was the first year for disc brakes. It was before they came on these rally wheels, which personally I don't care that much for, although they are popular. But the '65 is kind of the sweet spot. You have to decide whether you want a roadster, although you don't really have to decide because you could get a hardtop with that roadster. But I like the stunning coupe. It's just a very unique automobile. As for value, a nice Vette is between $60,000 and $80,000, less if it has lower option levels, and more if it has a lot of the cool stuff people are looking for, like the big block engines and air conditioning. You can get a project in the $30,000 to $40,000 range. The problem with anything less than that, it'll have all kinds of stories. It'll have been hit badly, it'll be put together again in a terrible fashion, or there'll be other issues. So bottom line, you need to spend about 30 grand to get into this market. I think there's a lot more appreciation to be had there. I still say that these cars, for what they are and how they drive, are a bargain. They are comfortable, they are fast, they handle relatively well, and especially once they got disc brakes, they stop quite well. They are a great car for a cruise-in, or for a 5-6 day tour. They can do it, and they're very easy to fix. There are tons of specialists that offer almost every single part ever. There's Concours level reproduction parts that are great if you want to go that way. You've got the National Corvette Restorer Society, which has documented every single nut, bolt, inch of these cars, so you can really do a nice job of restoring them. There's Corvette clubs. So this is a great car with great support, and again, what a bargain. So what goes wrong with these cars? First, they are fiberglass bodied, which the plus is they don't rust. The negative is you can get cracks and checking and crazing in the body, so it makes paintwork a little more difficult. They do rust, however, in the frames, and especially there's a metal framework in and around the door that you have to be careful of. You can repair the frames. Again, there are tons of parts available, but that is kind of the Achilles heels on these cars. The engines and gearbox and suspension are all overbuilt. They're robust. The rear ends hold up well. Underneath these cars, they're fairly conventional. It's got independent suspension up front with an anti-roll bar, tube shocks, standard drive shaft, transmission location. The rear end is independent, and it has a transverse leaf spring, which is an interesting feature even today. One thing that'll hurt the value on these cars is an automatic transmission. Initially, they were 2-speed automatics. That's not great. The 4 speeds are very durable, and that's the desirable transmission option to have. Again, if you just want to cruise the boulevard and don't care, spend less, get the automatic, and enjoy it. As you can tell, the C2 Corvette is one of my favorites. If you like this sort of stuff, please subscribe to our channel, push the like button, and check out our website, classicmotorsports.com, because we're doing this kind of stuff all the time.
Support brands that support Classic Motorsports. Get your chemical solutions from CRC Industries. Visit crcindustries.com to learn more. If you like this video and want to see more, make sure to hit that subscribe button and like this video. And to see more stories like this, visit us online at classicmotorsports.com.